part of Saturday Restring, we've got a Yamaha Pacifica 712 made in Korea. It does have the Yamaha Japanese tuners on there, but right here we got our serial number that is stamped in, and it says made in, I'm pretty sure that says, you know what? That says Taiwan. Made in Taiwan. Yamaha. It's already time to put the strings on it. I've been shining it up a little bit off camera, and I said, you know what, I got to turn my camera on. There's a lot of Yamaha fans out in the world. These are a very affordable, really nice playing Strat style guitar. And again, there's a lot of fans of all the Yamaha stuff. This is getting a set of SIT 9-gauge strings on here. And it does have a set of these tuners that have they're kind of like locking tuners. They have the little area at the top of the tuner peg where you can tighten them down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and cut these off of here already. They're kind of getting in the way, and they're kind of sharp. Okay, here's my second pack, which is the 5th string, and the 2nd string, which is a B string. I think the proper pronunciation of Yamaha, I know all Americans call them Yamaha, but I think it's supposed to be pronounced Yamaha. Yeah, so again, kind of a strange set of tuners where the top turns and then you gotta kind of line it up. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a little hole that goes out, travels all the way through, and I guess it's intended to kind of lock the string down in a way. Yeah, it didn't really catch on. The more you start to see some of the older Japanese stuff, and I'm talking 1980s, well, I can include the 70s, but the 1980s mostly and the 1990s, the Japanese, man, they were really innovative and came up with all kinds of cool ideas, and they're still doing that. Japanese guitar manufacturers, they came up with a lot of cool ideas. And then they came up with a lot not so cool ideas that they, you know, again, they would abandon those new funny kind of tuners and funny kind of 5-way switches, all that kind of stuff. Weird pickups. I did a video a couple weeks ago, and when those old Japanese guitars had Goto pickups, and I thought, oh, those things are so cool. But then after listening and playing the guitar, I did not like how those pickups sounded. So yeah, got rid of it. I still have that guitar, by the way, if anybody's interested. Alright, let's tune this thing up. The action feels really good on this. I'm going to go ahead and put, this is the truss rod cover, and it just kind of lays in here. Let me show you guys how this works. Alright, so I got the truss rod cover back in there, and it is all tuned up. Yamaha Pacifica. I'm going to say this guitar is probably from the 1990s, and I own this one, so I'm going to go ahead and tune it up, stretch the strings out a little bit, put it out in the showroom. I'm going to try to get, you know, I don't know, a couple $100 out of this one. And let's go ahead and move on to the next guitar. Okay, my friends, here's what's on the bench today. It says Gibson on there. Nice looking guitar. The single P90 version. Wraparound tailpiece, volume and tone. 99% sure this one is a Gibson, but I do not own this guitar. I'm not trying to sell it. My job today is to restring this guitar and get these fret ends feeling nice. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the strings off. Yeah, a lot of guys are getting their hands on fake Gibsons, counterfeit, whatever you want to call them. Made in China version, probably out of one of those Epiphone factories somewhere over there. I'm pretty sure that China doesn't care too much about the laws that we have in the United States. So they make these things all the time, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them floating around in the United States nowadays. Okay, I'm gonna put a little tape right here just to protect that a little bit. There we go. And then with my StewMac fret file, we're gonna hit these fret ends. A lot of people in the store today. It's been good for a Thursday. We're in March now, 2023. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my StewMac micro mesh cloths, and I've just about worn these things out. I'm just going to hit these like this, and that feels real nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the guitar over this way to do the top half of the fretboard. So being that this is a counterfeit, there's no binding nubs coming up at the side of each fret like you'd see on a real Gibson with binding. The binding rolls up on a real Gibson, the binding rolls up the side of each fret. And so I put the tape on here just to try to protect this, because I'm trying to get in here and kind of hit these too. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the StewMac microfiber pad. Okay, so I just heard my front door chime, so I'm going to go out and say hello to a customer that just walked in, and then I'll be back. Okay, let's clean these frets up a little bit. So I got my fretboard guard, and I've got a little tiny piece of 1200 grit sandpaper that I have folded over. I cut a little tiny piece, and I just rub these across here a little bit like that, and it shines them up really nice without taking any of the actual fret, down. It's not filing away the fret. I'm not really leveling them or any of that. Just taking the top layer of dirt off of them and putting a little shine on them. So when you go and do a little string bend, playing this guitar, your string is silky smooth up against this fret. Because the worst thing that can happen is when you go to do a string bend and there's a little rough spot on one of your frets, or it's got a little dent in it, and you can feel that under your finger when you're doing a string bend. That sucks. That sucks. Okay, I got a shorter one, smaller, that we can put on for here. So yeah, these you know, fake Gibsons, counterfeit, they're actually getting really good nowadays. I'm not saying go out and buy one, but they are getting better. I know that the Chinese stuff 15 years ago, everybody would stay away from it, and somebody might accidentally get suckered into buying something, but they always regretted it. But nowadays, guys are buying these Gibsons, and they're putting their own. They're a fun guitar to mod, as far as making modifications, putting different pickups in it, and you know, things like that. But you always know deep down that it's a fake, and you always know deep down that you wish you would have just had a real Gibson. But you know, sometimes we can't all afford the really nice Gibson stuff, so you end up with one of these things, because you know, you can get into these for a couple of $100, maybe $300, somewhere in that neighborhood. And if you happen to have Gibson pickups that you were able to get inexpensively, maybe an old used one or something, you throw that kind of stuff in there, and then you sort of got one. Okay, she's ready for strings. Today's string choice. A customer asked for Ernie Ball, super slinky, 9-gauge strings. So we got a shorter scale length with a Gibson, well, the 24 3/4 inch scale length compared to the Fender scale length. So on a Fender scale length, you got to tighten the strings a little bit tighter to get them to proper pitch. So these are going to feel really, really loose under his fingers. And they're going to be a little sloppy under your fingers. The worst gig that I ever played, for some strange reason, I put a set of 8s, because everybody wants to experiment. I put a set of 8s on a Gibson SG with a Bigsby. Okay, and I was trying to play punk rock. Okay, I was trying to play punk rock where you're blasting through bar chords really fast with a Gibson and a Bigsby. A Gibson SG with a Bigsby. It was probably the worst show of my life, because the strings, I couldn't get the strings underneath my finger. You're blasting through bar chords and the strings are moving up and down, and yeah, so not a good show for me. But I looked cool. But yeah. So most of the time, for standard tuning stuff, I recommend a set of 10-gauge strings on anything that is Gibson scale length. Okay, so on this guitar, with this kind of bridge, I'm loading all the strings into the bridge first, because they wrap around. You load them in because they load in from the front. And when you have it in here like this, if you did one string at a time, it's kind of tough to get the string down in there and roll it through this way. So you load them all up first. So this guitar, being the single pickup, I know that Gibson does make a version of this, and it's a signature series, and the guy's name, Jared, you guys help me out in the comments. I think it's James, or Jared James, or whatever that guy's name is, but I'm pretty sure that Gibson has their own signature model that looks very much like this, where it's a gold top with a single P90 or a single humbucker. It's got the compensated wraparound tailpiece, so there's not much you can do to intonate this thing. And it doesn't even have the little screws in the back of the bridge. A lot of times there's little screws that fit in the back, and you can kind of tweak the bridge this way or this way. This one does not have those in there. I was in the studio yesterday, and I actually recorded a song, and I hired a drummer. Well, I have a good friend that's my drummer. And I did all the guitar and all the bass and all the vocals. And it's an original song, and it's called "I Live for Myself Now." And I recorded a bunch of footage yesterday in the studio, and I think I'm going to go walk around out in the desert or something. And I'm actually going to, and you guys will see it here in a couple of weeks. The song will be mixed down next week. And I got to go do some more video footage, but I'm actually going to have an original song with me singing that I'm going to put on YouTube for you guys to listen to. It turned out really good. Honestly, I'm kind of proud of it. And I think you guys will enjoy it. It's kind of a punk rock song. There isn't a guitar solo in it, but it kind of comes off like maybe an Offspring style of song with you know, a little bit of the Germs in there. I kind of sound like Darby Crash when I sing. Yeah, I'm not joking. You guys are gonna trip out when you hear this, but yeah, I'm gonna have an original song coming up in a video really soon. Another couple of weeks. All right, let's stretch these babies out. Oh, I heard that click. It takes you want it to really seat on this bridge nicely. All right, my work is done here. We put strings on it. You know, it plays pretty good. Some of these Gibsons, they're kind of like pretty good Epiphones nowadays. So again, thank you guys for watching. Everybody have a great day, all right? Good morning, guys. Staying at ZIMM'S Guitars. And today, I got to set up this Jackson. And look at this, neck through. So I would believe this would be a soloist. And it's got the Jackson pickups in there. And I just have to tune this up. This was it's like a new used guitar. And so I'm going to put this little trem blocker underneath here. And it already has new strings on it. And, you know, I probably should hit the fret ends a little bit. So hit the fret ends a little bit on this one and tune it. So with my StewMac fret file, we're just going to carefully, so I don't accidentally gouge the body, put a little bit of tape here, put a little bit of tape right there. Yeah, this has a really fun aqua dip swirl finish to it. But it does have a little fret sprout, like a lot of these new guitars. I think this one is this Indonesia or China? This is China. Crafted in China, Jackson CYJ21. So, you know, last year's model. Just going to do one swipe on each fret. Guys, if you know what model number this is, or the name of this model, leave it in the comments for me. It'll help me do some pricing. What do these things go for new? What do they sell for used? Do all that reverb work for me. I don't sell things on reverb. You know, you guys have heard my whole reverb rant before, but I have a guitar shop in Mesa, and I don't need to use reverb. There could be a day sometime down the road where I feel like I need to start using reverb to sell stuff, but right now I'm not going to go there. Okay, so here we go. Just going to hit the frets like, oh, so much better. Now I'm going to take one of my really fine, and they're starting to wear out on me, but these are the micro mesh cloths from StewMac. I'm just going to sit here and rub on this thing for a minute. It does have the binding, the white binding all the way up and around. The neck here looks like to be 24 frets. It's got those shark tooth inlays. Jackson branded pickups. Flip the guitar over this way, and then it allows me to do this side. Top side doesn't feel real too bad, but it definitely would not pass Philip McKnight's sock test. Big shout out to Ben Coombs and his channel. He's a Canadian guy, and he had a really good interview, live stream with Tim Pierce the other day. And I recommend you guys go over there and watch that. Tim Pierce has had an amazing career as an LA studio musician, and his stories are beyond amazing. If you're into any type of whatever type of music you are into, he has been a part of that. I don't know about country music, but it's very good chance he's done a lot of country sessions too. But yeah, Tim Pierce interview. And you see Tim Pierce a lot on, you know, Rick Beato's channel and stuff. But it's really great when a small channel gets to do something good like that. Now, I've been on Ben Coombs' channel, but nobody knows who I am, so I've, you know, it's probably about a year or two ago I went on his channel, and unfortunately it only had a couple of hundred of only got a couple of hundred views because nobody knows who I am. Okay, so let's see now. Much better. And instead of, you know, McKnight puts a sock, a booty over his hand, like a nylon sock, and he rubs along the side. You can kind of do the same thing with a paper towel. Fold the paper towel over, rub it on the side. If it scratches and rips the paper towel all up, then you know. And this guitar, right now, it's not scratching or grabbing or ripping this paper towel up at all. Well, yeah, a little bit there, right? Let's try it one more time right here. Let's see what happens. Not too bad. It feels good. I think I can sell this guitar this way. Go ahead and pull this tape back off. And then now with this tool right here, we're going to come up here and we're going to loosen the locking nut, and it looks like they're already loose. Throw a snark on there. I bought a used guitar and I got a snark in the case. #1 for a reason, millions sold. This is probably, is there a date on it? Printed in China. Okay, here we go. Let's tune this thing up. Should we do a half step down on this thing? Let's try that. Let's see what happens in E flat. Our D string is down to C sharp. Our A string is down to G sharp. And our low E string is at E flat or D sharp. Alright, now when I pull this drum blocker out, that's probably going to make it go sharp a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're gonna tune it to standard tuning. That's what it's set up for. And it's very close. Really cool looking swirl dip. Really nice, neat neck through design right here. It's got a great fast playing neck. All swirl dipped. Super cool guitar. I bought a lot of guitars just recently, so a lot of video content coming up for you guys. Thanks everybody so much watching. Feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff for me. And remember guys, have a great day and go buy a guitar.